As an artist, there's never a shortage of ideas. In fact, every painting I've ever done has come to me really quickly. But finding the perfect reference photo? Now that's a different story. You end up going through thousands, you can never find the right angle or the shot that you're looking for, or worse, it alters your original idea. I'm not doing this anymore.
I'm in a glass case of emotion!
But that changes now, because today I'm grabbing my camera and heading out, because from now on I'm only gonna take and edit my own reference photos. The first thing I see on my walk is this bench, so I start taking some shots. Nah, that's a little boring. I think I want an action shot. Yeah, there we go. Now I'm gonna edit the background, so I'm gonna change the sky and have him walking off a roof. I think I wanna change the shoes too. What are the best shoes of all time? Stupid question. That's the one. Now I need to just crop that out so I can place it cleanly on top of the other shoe so it fits. Perfect. And here's our final reference photo. Gonna call it a night so I can get started on the underdrawing tomorrow. The first order of business is to move this image from my laptop over to my iPad, because that's what I'll be using for my reference photo. This enables me to have it a lot closer to me, and I can pinch and zoom if I need to get close on a spot. Now that I have it on the iPad, what I'll be doing is creating the grid, so every 2 inches I will create a grid line. That's the same thing that I'm going to be copying over to the canvas. Now that I've got the canvas up on my wall easel, I need to go through my fake plant jungle to get my ruler so we can start getting these lines out there. As mentioned earlier, the same 2 inches that I did on the iPad, I'll be copying over to the canvas itself. Several lines later, the easiest part of this is done, and now that the grid lines are complete, I'll be back a little bit later to get started on the actual underdrawing.
5 hours later.
I will never not hate doing the underdrawing. It is by far my least part about painting, but using the grid method helps since you have an accurate place for where you're supposed to do the drawing, so it'll match perfectly with your reference photo. It's still the most boring part. Now that the underdrawing is done, I'm gonna seal it so that when I start painting, it doesn't smear all over the place. Now the reference is fully complete and it's time to move on to the fun part. I'm gonna get started by grabbing the burnt sienna and diluting the hell out of it, and then I'm gonna cover the entire canvas with that, so everything I lay on top of it is gonna be nice and bright and saturated. And as always, the wonderful blue tape to help me keep my nice, beautiful lines. Next, I'm gonna get started creating my skin tones because I'm gonna be starting with the legs first. And then I do something that I do often, which is rush and make mistakes, and so I'm gonna move on to another area to regain my confidence. No, not the butt cheeks, just the clothing. You ready? I love painting clothing because there's less pressure to be exact. If you paint someone's eyes wrong, their face is gonna look incorrect. But with clothing, as long as the color values and shapes and highlights and things are correct, it's gonna look good. Next, I'm gonna grab me a clean brush and I'm gonna go in and soften all of the harsh lines and really work on the blending here to make sure everything looks soft and smooth and realistic. Now that the confidence is high and I'm having fun again, I'm gonna go back in and start adding some additional layers to the legs so I can get those fixed and get started on the shoes. Now that this is complete, it was time to move on to the sky, and I thought to myself, why don't I go outside and actually get some fresh reference shots? Bruh. But that didn't work because it started raining, so back in the studio I go to use the original reference. I got out my ZV-1 so that I could have camera angles on both the right side and the left side, since this was my first time ever painting the clouds or sky with oil paint. process was 1,000,000 times easier than it ever was with acrylic paint, just because the oils can blend and shape and soften so much easier than they can with acrylic. The final touches of every painting are definitely the funnest, but also the most nerve-wracking. You need to fill in all remaining spaces without completely f***ing up something else you've already done so far. And for me to do this successfully, I must do the following. And after rounding out the cheeks just a bit more, our person is done. But something was still a little bit off, and I figured out what it was. Needs more blue. The goal here was not to add a ton of blue. I just wanted a subtle amount that was going to add some more saturation and help create some more separation between the sky and the clouds. Now this painting is just about done, but I have to do my favorite part, the finishing highlights.
In this room, what did you do? I just can't get enough. Too caught up in your love. I've been trying to forget, but you won't let me. Something in my brain wants you. I've been hanging on myself, asking for help, but nothing seems to work on you. Yeah. You always make me feel like, oh yeah. You never leave my thoughts alone, yeah. You're the reason I'm going out my mind. I just stop thinking about you. All that I crave when you're away, nights are sleepless. Do we need space? Yeah, maybe a break. Boy, you're my weakness. Give and we take, the love that we make, it's my favorite drug. Too caught up in your love. I've been trying to forget, but you won't let me. Something in my brain wants you. I've been.
Why does it feel like I'm forgetting something? Wait a minute. I never signed the painting. I just spent like an hour getting all of this footage of the finished piece, and I didn't even have my signature. At least it's a quick fix. D-A-R-R-E-N. Okay, now I'm done.
Hanging by myself, asking for help, but nothing seems to work on you. Yeah. You always make me feel like, oh yeah.